And so I don't know, I think maybe there's something that just won't allow me to find peace, won't allow me to find uh, relaxation, calm state of mind perhaps, but not comfort. You know, I want us to resurrect cities and states, and that anything less than that is just not acceptable, because it's not acceptable, because it's not enough. There was a time whereas to begin to show signs of awareness of one's history was enough, to change aspects of one's diet and cultural engagement, just somewhat was enough. But now that time has gone on and continues to evolve, something else now is required, and it is that which it was in the beginning. And so that being the case, we can to be aware of the truth of our existence as functional, healthy, wealthy nations. Once you come to understand that, once you can recall that, to function in any lesser capacity would be, if there is such a thing as sin, sinful. Because you're aware. And once you become aware of your greatness, you don't have an option or a choice. You're supposed to be great. And to just have in the forefront of one's mind just pockets of what we've had and what we've done and what we've been through. Again, nothing less than phenomenal would do. When you come to just really know who we are, which means you have in mind what we've been through, what we lost, what we're gaining. When that's in the forefront of your consciousness, you just can't do any kind of thing any kind of way. That's the conviction. And truth convicts you. So just trying to figure out how to put that into place. To the men specifically, because women are like busybodies. Women will work like they talk. The reason why they gossip so is because they're really hard workers. And the gossiping keeps them busy. It's like moaning and singing. It's just sound to keep you engaged while you're doing the busy work. It is the focus of men that has to be galvanized, because when a woman is distracted, she's distracted in a particular way that's controllable. But when a man is distracted, he's distracted in a way in which not only is he unable to control himself, but she can't control him either. Nothing can. That is what's detrimental, more so than any other aspects of the various flaws that you'll find in character between the genders. And we got to begin to look at it scientifically and strategically, because we've looked at it quite emotionally and defensively, and then we go to war with each other. Whereas if it was the other way around and we analyze scientifically then we would respond appropriately towards those who are engaged every day in a war with us. So it's imperative, that we pick up the mantle and begin to have the serious dialogues like we used to when Clark, Sertima, Ben, and others were here. Because you really don't, there is no one filling their shoes. There are many who are claiming that they are, like all Umar does is regurgitate Clark, is regurgitate Wilson, and in his regurgitation of Wilson, he didn't even give Wilson credit. Now, if that was a paper written, it would be plagiarized. And he's walking around claiming to be the new kid on the block. I'm like, wait a minute, first of all, you're not a child, and a kid is a baby goat. So therefore, if you're conscious and you're the Pan-Africanist that he's claiming to be the only one, his conversation style is like a rapper boasting that he's the baddest and everybody's hating on him. And I'm listening and I'm like, it's amazing how rap has impacted the consciousness of even those who are supposed to be spiritually, intellectually higher conscious wise. But the point is that anyone that's on that stage or platform are merely regurgitating. And you call it regurgitation because there's no building coming from it. And that's why there's that communication to almost ignore those who have been before, not to even mention their names. On one end, you got Pharaoh suggesting that no one did anything, not even Malcolm. He's on this pathway whereas he's tearing down all the admiration that individuals had. Oh, absolutely. Oh, he was like, if the elders had done anything, we wouldn't be experiencing what we're experiencing in the communities. So what he's doing is he's redirecting, he's putting himself up. He reminds me of a so-called Greek. They go and knock down the Egyptian statues and then start erecting their own. So the reason why he went through supposedly critiquing the ancestors, nowhere in anything that we've ever written is that even part of your thought process, let alone your actions. And so therefore, because he's prompted himself as the leader of young people, then he had to go through the process of denouncing the mothers and fathers, really the fathers before him. So on one hand, it communicates the junction in which we find ourselves. I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't think he's aware of it per se, but the consciousness that is driving him is aware of it, because the youth do feel abandoned. He's communicating like Trump communicated to the poor whites in a coded language that they could understand. So he played on their sense of being left out. And so that's what he's doing. He's playing on the feeling, the emotion, the idea held by the majority, if not all, young people, and that is that they have been let down, that they are due something equal to in power to an adult. That's playing on the childlike mentality of children. whether they've been neglected or not. A child always wants to be equal, if not greater than the adult. And he's playing on that. And so he has individuals saying, well, he's their new leader. So they don't need to listen to the elders, so they don't need to read the materials, which means they will not be following the instructions. He'll leave it to them to regurgitate, or they will leave it to him to regurgitate and feed it to him. And it's so ironic to me, because if you're not standing on the shoulder of the elders, then you need not be on that platform, because that's the platform that they built and left. You should be pulling something out of your pharaonic head that's just spaceship wow. Same thing with Umar. You know, you've gotten a piece of paper, so you say. What is stopping you from building? How have you collected $1 million or $500,000 and you don't even have a building? You don't even have a curriculum design. But you're so busy because you're going from city to city and state to state, lecturing, regurgitating what the elders have already communicated to us. And then if you ever listen to him, he has a very, his demeanor, he's that kind that will tell you how sinful you are, and you're lucky he's there to save you type of presenter. So when you look at him and you look at Pharaoh, you see the various styles of a manipulator. And I don't know that they are aware of it, but that energy that dominates them, it does, of course. You know, and that's what's so, again, critical about our situation, because when you look at the fact that we don't have elders or individuals functioning in the capacity, the young are being mulled over. And you have individuals that are filling the heads with data. I don't even know to qualify it as data. With no plan. Umar, as old as he is, should not, and the fact that he's a man and claiming to be a Pan-Africanist, then he should be building an army, not a motherfucking school. You leave that for somebody else. Like a woman, since you're such a man. How you a Pan-Africanist and you don't understand that, first of all, when we get it together, we got to have an army. Before we're allowed to get it together to stop the onslaught against us, we got to have an army. So if you really a Pan-Africanist, that means you are a strategist, and first things first, nigga. He should be building an army if he was sincere. Because then the money he got, hey, you got what you need. Buy the supplies, take them niggas out into the woods from state to state and train them how to be protectors of their own community. Of themselves, of each other, of their families. If you were a Pan-Africanist, if you were really a strategist. Same thing with Pharaoh. Right. You know, you're going over what people are doing is they're picking the leftovers of Caucasian scraps after they picked over your gravesite, and after they've eaten from it and gotten full of themselves and throw the scraps out. And so now you got those of us who's eating those scraps, and it's just, it makes no sense. Hyperdimensionality. What? Unless you're trying to build a rocket ship to ship black people to Mars, I don't understand the purpose of that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, now the reality is, and I almost want to say, regardless of where she got it from, it is a reality, and if not dealt with properly, it's not as if the energy can be denied. And the reason why I make that point is because the social construct, irregardless of who is apparently in control of designing it, is moved in part by the energy that is present and available in the consciousness of the one who's constructing. And so that energy just permeates at this given moment in time for a lot of social reasons, because a lot of things are being flipped. This is one component of the construct that's being flipped, and it's happened over time. There was a time where this was the expected role, this was the forced role. Well, as time evolves, that will change, and it will go through a process of flipping. And so who was at the bottom will be at top, and the one who was at top will be at the bottom. And there will be some that fall off altogether. There is no in between. The what I think we had learned to do was be at peace with one and the other, in harmony one with the other, irregardless of who was at the top and who was at the bottom. And that when you lose the ability to maintain harmony, regardless of who's at the top and who's at the bottom, that's what the problem is. The problem isn't that there was a moment in time where her role was subservient and now her role is not. That's not the issue. The issue is in between. Where's the harmony? How's the harmony between the two? See, because I could be on top and still provide for you whatever and all that you need. So what is the issue? There is none. Whether one is leveled at the top or what is perceived or conceptualized at the bottom, there's still an interrelationship that must occur. And it would be best that it is in harmony than not, because where your position is irrelevant, because at some given point in time, that's going to flip. You got individuals who want to be on the top and don't even know what to do. You got individuals that say they don't want to be at the bottom, but they don't even know what to do. So that's is individuals keeping everybody confused simply because those individuals had not learned how to be at harmony with themselves or each other. So everything that came out of their mouth and everything that was constructed was to create a schism, an enmity between everyone in themselves, of themselves, and with each other. Because they felt more comfortable with that because it was chaotic, and they're more comfortable in chaos because they don't know what harmony is and they're not comfortable with harmony. They have no respect for harmony because they see that as subservient. Now you got all of a sudden other people who suggest they got an issue with being subservient. So now nobody wants to be at the bottom. So nobody wants to be the feet. No one wants to be the shoulders. Everybody want to be the motherfucking head. But they have no idea of what to do. because they're listening to the wrong ideas.